Good evening runners, and welcome back to another video from me, That Running Girl. In today's video, I'm going to be talking you through my 30-second marathon training block, including training through 4 heat waves. I'm going to go through the good and the bad points so that I have a really balanced outlook and can just share with you everything that's been going on in my marathon training block over the past few months. So let's get into it. Firstly, let's start with the good, coaching. So as you all know, I have been coached by Nebula Tri-Team, a bunch of super experienced multiple-time Ironman finishers since January this year, and I cannot put into words how much it has boosted my confidence and just, set me on a path of discovering so many more new training techniques and variation in my running, and also just helped me to have more confidence in myself and just really believe I can do hard things that I wouldn't have done in solo training. Another thing where this translates is when it comes to a marathon training block, I was only ever doing solo training on my own. So for 31 marathons, I literally coached myself, and for a long run, I would only ever do a long run at the same distance. I wouldn't ever think of putting variety and, tempo into a long run session. So doing like 14 miles with maybe half a mile fast, half a mile recovery, half a mile fast, half a mile recovery. I did a session like that for 14 miles with like 6 miles of speed in, and I did a 17-mile run 3 days ago, followed by a 10-mile tempo run today. And I just feel like it has helped me immensely find new gears in my running and in my endurance speed. The variety of sessions also means that I just turn up to races way more confident in my training because, train hard, race easy. That is the mentality. And I almost feel like I was doing it the other way around for 20 years, in that I was training easy and racing hard. And the difference is just game changing. The consistency of the gear as well for this training block, I feel, has really helped me. So I have been wearing the ASICS Nova Blast for about 8 to 10 months now, which is, longer than the marathon training block, but I've been wearing those same shoes, the same model of shoes, and rotating a few different pairs. I just absolutely love the cushioning, the bouncy ride, and they just feel so good and responsive. I love the way that when the shoe hits the ground, you can really feel the energy return coming back up. And it's just a wild ride compared to when I used to wear really flat shoes back in the day, like the Nike Lunar Racer. So I'm really excited for the ASICS Mega Blast drop, which is dropping in September, which is supposed to be an even bouncier foam and an upgrade to the Nova Blast. So if you currently run in the Nova Blast 5, look out for that. Music on my watch. So this is another game changer for me. I upgraded my watch in May this year. Ultimately, I was going through, and still am going through, a kind of transition period in my running where I'm upgrading so many different things, and I'm finding that it's bringing so many different new rewards. But putting music, my Spotify playlists onto my watch has been incredible because it means that I don't have to wear a super bulky waist belt that just feels really hot and bounces around on your run and is the most annoying thing ever. For me personally, I absolutely love to feel streamlined when I run. So just to have my watch and my bone conduction headphones is just all I need, and has been amazing. The last good thing that's gone well in training for my marathon, my 30-second marathon in mid-September, is switching to plant-based whole foods. So I have been plant-based for over 20 years, and I had kind of fallen into the trap of eating so many, convenience fast foods for vegetarians and vegans, from, vegan sausage rolls, vegetarian burgers, vegan hot dogs, all these kinds of foods. I was sometimes eating them 3 times a day, and I fell into that trap of thinking, you need protein to recover and you need X amount of protein. But for 20 years, I personally had a really low protein diet, and I just ate whole grain carbs and fruit, vegetables and sugar. And that is when I ran all my PBs. And I'm not advising anyone else does a low protein diet, but for me personally, my body seems to really thrive on that. And I have just felt so much better since I cut out fake meat products. I think if you're a plant-based vegetarian or vegan, it's very easy to fall into that trap of thinking just because it's vegan or vegetarian, it must be healthy. But most of those foods do fall under the ultra processed food UPF label. So you really have to be careful, because over time, for me personally, they just made me feel really bloated and sluggish and not like myself. So I'm really pleased that I've switched to more whole foods, which has really benefited my training and my general holistic health. Now on to the things that could have gone better, but mainly were out of my control. So we had 4 heat waves in the UK, and that is an excessive amount of heat and boiling training runs and no rain and just humidity that feels like it's just zapping you on every single run, from a tempo session to a long run. And it's been really difficult to deal with. Every time a long run comes around, you've got 15 or 18 miles to run, and it turns out it's 30 degrees. It just puts you off mentally. So I have found that getting up really early and getting it done definitely makes a world of difference. If you can have someone to support you on a bike or even in a car at certain stops with drinks and, you know, isotonic drinks will be, even ice packs can be really, really helpful. Wearing a cap or a visor I have found to be really, really helpful, as well as I do wear my sun gods on most of my sessions, but wearing a cap or a visor just has your own little individual sunshade, and just for me has again been a game changer. Another bad thing, challenging thing has been adding a 6-mile race into a marathon training block. So I have this thing where I like to do the same races that I've done for the best part of 20 years, and I kind of had FOMO about not running the Hook Norton 6 miles. So my partner was running it as well, and I really wanted to run it, so I ran it. But I kind of think at the time that doing a 6-mile all-out race, even though I did it well, I was 13th woman out of 81 women. I felt like, looking back on it, it wasn't the smartest thing to do, because I'm ultimately not training for a 6-mile all-out speed race. I'm training for a marathon. But in hindsight, I shouldn't have done it, but I had a good time, I ran a good position, and it's all experience in the bag. And the last thing, the challenging thing has been for my 30-second marathon has been my breathing difficulties. So like I mentioned, with the heat and the humidity and the 4 heat waves we've had, I have seasonal asthma, which means that in challenging conditions, usually only winter conditions, but this year in the summer conditions, with the humidity and the rising heat and the fact that we live in the countryside, so there's a lot of sort of dust and, you know, farmyard like triggers around in terms of pollutants. I found it really difficult on my breathing this year. So I have been relying more on my reliever inhaler, which I don't actually like to use that much, because I am a very holistic and health kind of person, and I don't like to rely on meds. But I was getting into such a state. I had 3 quite bad asthma attacks on my runs, and I just needed to trust in my inhaler. So that again has been really challenging for me. But the past 2 runs I've had, my 10-mile tempo today and my 17-mile run 3 days ago, have gone really, really well. So I'm hoping that that is the worst behind me. So that is a quick catch up on my 30-second marathon. It will be the New Forest Marathon mid-September, and I'm so excited. It is an off-road, multi-terrain marathon. I ran it a number of years ago when it was more of a cross-country run, but it is now multi-terrain, flat gravel packed paths. Let me know in the comments below what you are doing as your fall or autumn marathon, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.